Hey everybody, I'm Kirti Sharma. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a show that's streaming on Netflix right now called The Big Day. Now, as the show's name suggests, it's about weddings. Weddings specifically held in India. These over-the-top, big and bad weddings. And when I mean bad, I don't mean evil. I mean like extravagant, over-the-top, totally something you would see out of the movies, especially Bollywood movies. So yeah, that's basically what the show's about. It chronicles two couples on each of the 3 episodes. So it's a 3-episode long docuseries. Each episode has 2 different couples. They talk about their the traditions they follow, don't follow, their views on marriage, relationships. Their families are interviewed, their friends, they show the process of selecting the venue, to the decor, to their jewelry, to the clothes. Now, they're not chronicling every single step of the way because that would just be boring because, hey, we don't even know these people, but they're just showing bits and pieces. And the crazy thing about it is how much they're similar but dissimilar to one another. And what I mean is, the couples that the episodes are showcasing. If it comes as a surprise to you, the wedding planning industry is humongous, and especially in a country like India right now where there's like a billion people, everyone knows are getting married. So it's a big deal, especially if you grew up watching Indian movies that show these extravagant weddings with these beautiful brides, the jewelry they wear, the clothes they wear, the food, the music, singing and dancing. So that's what weddings are, and real life weddings are no different, at least if you take the show's word for it. So when I first saw the promo or, the picture come up on Netflix to watch the show, I was like, oh, wait, what is this? Is this supposed to be like Made in Heaven, which is a series that chronicles this male and female business partners who have this wedding planning business, and the show follows them, through each and every episode, putting a wedding together, dealing with the ups and downs of the couples that they're working with, the family drama, all alongside their own business problems and personal life issues. So I thought it was going to be something like that. The only, thing that ties these 2 shows together is the fact that it's about weddings, it's about couples, it's about drama that can ensue because, every wedding has drama, especially if it's an Indian wedding. We say, at least in Punjabi weddings, we say that if there is no drama in the wedding, was it really a wedding? Something is always happening, whether that's the drinks that play a role, I don't know, or maybe it's just people like drama. Whatever it is, that's the case. I also thought it was going to be like this movie called Band Baja Barat, and that movie is also on wedding planning. Now, before that wedding came out, I don't know how big the wedding planning industry was in India. I don't live there, I'm not from there, so I have no idea. But from the outside looking in, it felt like this movie was the precursor for this wedding industry to explode, Next thing you know, everyone is using them. So I think that, this show is reminiscent of that movie. That movie was fun. That movie also had a male and female protagonist who come together to form this wedding planning company. It also talks about, their issues, personal and professional, and just how cutthroat the industry can be to get in and then to sustain themselves. So yeah, I was interested in this show called The Big Day because why not? Everyone, I know has gotten married and has had over-the-top weddings. I had one as well. Well, actually, I take that back because after watching these 3 episodes, I was like, no, my wedding was nowhere like this. I also happened to get married at a time where, like I said, we didn't use wedding planners. We did go to India to get married because, let's face it, it was easier on the wallet, things are really expensive here, especially if you want those Indian weddings that span a few days. You want to have all these people, you want to have the most amazing food, and you want, DJs, you want the music, you want the clothes, you want the jewelry, you just want people. So yeah, in order to do all that, we went to India to get married. I found myself relating to the first couple that was shown on the very first episode. They also went from California to India to get married, and everything was over the top. It was crazy how detailed everything was. But the great thing is you can be as involved or uninvolved as you want because you have these wedding planners that are ready to take care of everything, And you just let them know what your lifestyle is like, what your personality is like, what you're looking for, and they will literally put everything together. So I guess for a person like me that gets anxious really quickly and likes things done, wedding planning would have been a good way to go. I was pretty young when I got married. I was 21 and I was going overseas. Like I said, I had no idea about anything. So none of the wedding planning was left to me. Our families got together and they put the whole thing together. Pictures were sent to us like on email or like over the phone. And we were like, okay, this works, this doesn't work. The only thing I really had to say on was the jewelry, the clothes I wore, the wedding invite itself, stuff like that. From the food to the music to who did our mehndi, which is, the henna, to where the wedding took place. None of that was on me. So I think looking back, or at least this show made me feel like I should have been more involved. But another part of me was like, damn, just finalizing the card and my clothes and all of that was such a hassle. Like I was literally in tears. Like I couldn't have done any of that. So I'm thankful that, all of that was taken care of for me. But that's enough about me, and let's get back to the show. On the first episode, what was really interesting was just how different the couples were. One couple was very like sustainable. Like we want everything local. We want all the materials that are used in our wedding to be donated to organizations around the locale that they were in. Whereas the other couple was like, we don't care about any of that. We just want everything to the T as how we want it. Like they had Alice in Wonderland theme. They had a Bollywood theme for another function. They had like Hollywood themed like party as well. They did the whole rehearsal dinner, which in Indian weddings, there is no such thing as a rehearsal dinner. Everything happens like spontaneously on that day. So you don't really know what's coming or what to expect. One thing that I really found interesting in this show is just how much it was about me, myself, and I, and also the groom. It's about us. It's our day. We want to do things how we want it. We don't care what others think. We don't care if they view our wedding as like an anomaly. It doesn't matter because we want it to be a reflection of us. I think that's really nice to see because that's not how, traditionally things happen in India, especially when it comes to weddings. It's like a tradition-loaded event. Even though there's new parties and there's music and there's dancing and clothes, but none of that is really how a traditional wedding works. Indian weddings are loaded with family and relatives, and they're very, very concerned about what your relative will say, what people will think, how does it reflect on their standing in society and all of that. So it's been a lot of that. These couples in this show weren't about that. They were like, we don't care if you don't like it or not. It's our day. We're going to do it how we want to do it. And I think that's really refreshing. At the same time, I'm also one of those people that while I want to do things my way, I also care about what my parents will think. I also want to, do things in a way that's respectful to not only what they believe in and what they think things are about, and also how I am and what my personality is and what my likes and dislikes are. Like, for instance, in this show, there was a lot of talk about, hey, we're not going to do this tradition. We're not going to do that tradition because it's old school. We don't adhere to it. We don't want it to be like that. So in particular, the Kanyadan, which is basically a tradition that happens in all Indian weddings, or at least Hindu weddings. It's a ceremony with a girl and her parents, and then they're basically, giving the daughter away to the guy and to the guy's family. So now I can see how in today's day and age that looks really bad. It's like, women are not a commodity. Women aren't just, given from one person to another. So I totally understand that. And I agree with that. I'm not a commodity. You don't need to give me to anyone. I can stand and fend for myself. But just in my wedding, for instance, we did the Kanyadan. I didn't have an issue with it because for me, it was more like my parents showing hey, we care for our daughter. We love our daughter. We provided her with, to the best of our ability. And we want to make sure that you are also, her partner are also there to help her when she needs it, right? So that's how I took it. So I'm not one of those people that are going to nitpick every little tradition. So when some of these couples were just disparaging these traditions, I was like, really, guys, you can take it, make it into something new. Set your own meaning to things, and it's not a big deal. So aside from that, I thought the show was pretty good. The second wedding, or the second episode, showed two weddings, and both of these women were very type A. Every T has to be crossed. Every I has to be dotted. We need Excel spreadsheets for everything. We're going to pick what you wear, what you say, how you dance, what song is playing, what the decor is like, from a single piece of thread to the color of, I don't know, the flowers, to the runners, to what my mom is wearing. It was really crazy. I was like, wow. So these are kind of like the bridezilla types. Now, I'm all for taking charge of what you want. Only you know what you want. But damn, like, if you're so consumed with all these little tedious things, like, how much are you really enjoying yourself on your day? I am a controlling person. I like things to be a certain way, but not to the point where I'm suffocating someone else. And I felt like, okay, guys, like, we know you're the bride. We know how important this is to you, but what about the grooms? They're just there for the ride, How about make things a little bit more 50-50? But on the flip side, it's really nice to see like how supportive their partners were of them, In a patriarchal society, usually men are the ones that take the lead. And not usually, for the most part, men take the lead. It's about what they want, what they feel. The groom's family is held at a higher standard for some reason than the woman's family. But these women showed that no, we're just as strong, if not stronger, than our counterparts. And if we can handle this better than our partners, then why not? And that's how it should be for not just a wedding, but in life. Episode 3 has a gay couple in it, which I found really, really good to showcase on a show like this, because India has been a very traditional society, and not just India, but the world over. It's been hard for, gay couples, lesbian couples, same-sex marriages to even take place or be celebrated. So it was really good that this platform gave this couple an opportunity like this. In India, traditionally, same-sex marriages have been, I think they recently were accepted by the court of law, which is a great first step towards, a greater acceptance. And a show like this can only enhance that. So in this show, I think the couple's name was Tyrone and Daniel. They talked about the struggles of coming out to their family because, like I said, India is a very traditional society. A lot of focus is on, what others will think, how the community will perceive you, how society will treat you. So it's really hard in a society like this for these couples to come out in the way they have. So they talked about that. They talked about how, their parents are accepting now, but in the beginning they were a little bit hesitant, like, okay, are you sure? Do we need to talk about this? Is this something that can be fixed, So they talked about that. They also talked about how, multicultural their families are. They have Indian blood like in previous generations, but they chose India to, live and work in. The wedding was a mixture of all their different heritage, their mixed heritage. I think one of them had a bit of German in them, and one had a little bit of Thai in them. So there was a big mixture of different cultures coming together, which was great to see. And just how happy the couple was. So I think, like I said, it was a good third episode because it was something different. All of the episodes in general, though, they followed a similar format. All of these weddings had like a mehndi ceremony where henna is applied to the bride, and in this case, in episode 3, the grooms and the families, the women who want to, put mehndi on. And for a bridal mehndi, it's usually from, at least mine was from my hands all the way up to up to here, so bicep, and from my feet all the way up to my knees. It's very intricate. It's really cold when they put it on. These weddings also chronicled Sangeet, which is the most favorite function of mine in Indian weddings. It's just singing and dancing and people just having a good time. So they had that. And then, just a little bit of other traditions. The Serabandi, which, the groom, his family does, and, but I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of all of that. Suffice to say, I enjoyed the show. It gave me a lot of ideas on what to do, not for another wedding, but for maybe an anniversary celebration. I've always told my husband that I want to redo our wedding. I want to be more involved this time. I don't want to be sick this time. I got really sick at my wedding. I couldn't even enjoy it. It was horrible. I had an allergic reaction to the henna that was applied all over me. I think there was some kind kind of chemicals in there that help enhance like the color. And I had even told those artists, like, I have really sensitive skin, don't mix anything in it. And they had assured me that, there's nothing mixed in it. Well, there was something mixed in it, because by the next day, my fingers and arms were like swollen and my feet were swollen, and the swelling didn't go down for like 3 or 4 weeks. It was insane. So I want to redo, and I'm going to show him these episodes and be like, hey, look, this is exactly what I need from A to Z. So yeah, it should be fun. Also, I'm hoping one day when my kids get older, they want like this over the top crazy wedding. I'm so dying to help make that happen. So I've already told them, hey, even if you grow up and you don't want a big wedding or you don't want a wedding at all, I don't care. I'm going to throw you guys something. I want something lavish and over the top just to, have an escape. That's exactly what the show is. And it's an escape. Like, we're in COVID times. No one is going out and having these elaborate weddings and parties. So this helps you live vicariously through these couples. So that's really nice. It was relatable to me in a lot of different ways, like I said, but I recognize that this isn't a relatable show for a big segment of the population, because if this show was any basis, you would think that, every single wedding in India is like one that you spend a shitload of money in, and that's not the case. People can afford these extravagant things, and I think that's a drawback of this show. Like, they make it look like it's so easy. They make it look like everyone is doing this, and if you're not doing this, something is wrong with you. When in reality, it's like, who has this much money? This show doesn't harp on that. The show doesn't talk about expenses at all, but it's very clear to see that every single couple in this show is from a very well-to-do family. Based on some of these weddings, especially the first wedding in the first episode, I mean, they are spending like crores, like I don't know how many crores, easily like, $500,000 to $1 million, I feel like. And that's not even taking into account like all the tickets, how expensive it is to actually go to India. That's like a huge expense. Yes, even the smallest wedding in terms of scale does have these different functions, different ceremonies, all of that is true for all Indian weddings. But just the magnitude or like the grand epic scale of these weddings is not something that, a lot of people can do. So it is an escape, but it's unrealistic. I wish the show would have followed a middle-class family. What is the average person in India doing in terms of their wedding? But maybe they're not, hiring wedding planners either, okay? The wedding planners that were used in this show were really big. But I'm sure there's, smaller scale wedding planners as well. You don't have to go to the biggest and the baddest wedding planner to get something done. It all depends on your budget. So I wish they would have shown like maybe in a smaller city with a smaller budget. And what does a wedding look like then, right? So I think that is a drawback. But, like I said, it's an easy watch. It's only 3 episodes. If you love to watch, Indian weddings, this gives you a good glimpse into that. I have always loved Indian weddings. I love the singing and dancing and the music and the colors and the food. When I was really young, I think I was in 2nd or 3rd grade, that this really epic, classic Bollywood movie came out, which was Hum Aapke Hain Kaun. I've watched that movie like 1,000 times. And in that movie, they had every little function of an Indian wedding, every ceremony, and each ceremony had its own song and dance sequence. They were wearing elaborate clothing, elaborate setups. So just having that like visual in my head at a very young age, that's what I wanted, So traditions are there for a reason. We follow them for a reason, whether that's out of respect, whether that's what you believe in, whether that's the cultural standard. But at the same time, it's okay to incorporate new traditions, make new customs, adapt, I've always led a life where, yes, there's a lot of Indian in me, but there's a lot of American in me, and that makes me me. Right? I pick and choose what I want to follow, how I want to follow it. No one's going to make those choices for me. I don't expect to make choices for anyone else, right? Live and let live. And I think that's the good positive of the show. Do what you want. Don't worry about what other people think. It's your wedding day. You should be able to do what you want. Like, So yeah, that's my take on this show. Definitely give it a watch. And if you like it, you can watch Made in Heaven, which is a fictionalized, series on wedding planning industry and just relationships in general. And then also give Bandwaja Barat a view as well. I think that's where all of this started, at least for me, in terms of opening my eyes to the wedding planning industry in India. I'm sure it was there before, but I think this just pushed it into the forefront. And also that movie gave us Ranveer Singh. So if you like Ranveer Singh, if you want to be introduced to him, that was his first movie. And I think he was incredible in it. So give it a watch. And yeah, tell me what you think of those shows and movies. And also this one. Did you give The Big Day a watch? How was it? Did you like it? Were you also like me and kicking yourself like, damn, why didn't I think of this? Why didn't I do this? So yeah. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Bye.